So before we actually start creating the user, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change how all this stuff happens based off of the cart itself. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be grabbing the cart object first and see if the cart object exists. If it doesn't exist, then we'll create a brand new order object. Create the order object, see if it exists based off of the cart, and then if it doesn't, then we'll create an order object. So we'll go try, and we'll say new order equals to order dot objects dot get, and that's going to be cart equals to cart, and we're going to run the exception of order does not exist, and this is where we'll create the order. Mainly because we have some issues here with possibly, well, if we look at our model, we see that we have a default here of ABC, but a unique equals to true. Now, if we run into some issues or errors with actually creating this order, we might get another default, and then we're going to get this thing saying that the order ID column has to be unique. So what I'm doing now is I'm saying, okay, if there's one that exists, then let's grab that one based off of the cart in the session. If it doesn't exist, then we'll create one, and we'll do that by doing new order equals to order, and cart is equal to cart, and then new order equals to new order.user equals to request.user, and then new order ID is now going to be that ID generator, and then we'll say new order.save. Okay, so what this did is it's going to try and get the cart or the order based off of the cart, and if the order does not exist, then it's going to create one, and it doesn't actually create it until we run save here. So what we see here is actually creating a new instance of it, but it's not actually saving that instance. So if I did this, so cut that out and paste it here, this still works. It's basically like saying this, right? So it's basically like saying this here, but the main difference being is order.objects.create actually creates it and saves it based off of the arguments that we put in here. So if I don't put any arguments in, or if I don't want to save it right away, I can create a new instance, which is what this does. So that's an instance of order, and then I add the different attributes I want to add, and then I save it, right? So that is actually probably a better way than what we did here. And so now I can just delete all this stuff. All right, so we still have some other functions that we'll still need to do, but this at least allows me to have this order, and then I can just do accept. Let's just say I'll return us back to the cart for now, and we should work on some error message here at some point, because we haven't actually started doing any messages really on this view. So now that we have this, we have our try, we should get our new order and all that. So let's actually go and try it out. I'm going to log into the admin, or actually log out of the admin, and then go back in, go to my product, add it to the cart. Now I have it in the cart, go to checkout. It says can't it assign, must be a user instance. So right here, this request.user, we might actually have to grab the user object itself. In this case, we're getting request.user, and it looks as if the request.user is not grabbing the instance of the user. It says anonymous user, right? So it needs to be a user, an actual user. So this is where that login part really makes a big difference, right? So anonymous user cannot be assigned to a foreign key relation like this. That's where we got this error. So it cannot assign anonymous user, order.user must be a user instance, where anonymous user is not a user instance. It's strictly an anonymous user. Okay, so that means we want to bring in this required user login, and it's just a decorator. So what we will do is from django.contrib.auth.decorators import login required. All right, and I'm actually going to move this above the R, keep it in alphabetical order there. All right, and then now all we have to do here is add the @ and login required. So that makes this view being a user actually has to log in to see this information. So we go back into the checkout, and if I spelled Django correctly, that might help. So django.contrib.auth, we refresh, and we see that it's actually redirecting me to actually log in. So now we cannot check out unless we log in. So if I go back, I logged in now, still have the same cart going, and if I hit checkout, it actually takes me to this checkout, and that works out pretty well for us. Okay, great. So that's where we're leaving the checkout part of stuff now. It's nice and refactored for us to the point where we have login required as well as just a better order creator or order generator than what we had just a moment ago. All right, so in the next one, we'll actually start to create the user auth models and associate the Stripe ID. All right, we'll see you in the next one.